Welcome into this quiet moment. Tonight is a soft journey, a gradual drifting toward the most peaceful sleep you can remember for generations. Once, practitioners of gentle awareness have whispered a few simple lines into the hush before rest. These are not ordinary phrases. They are like small keys, opening hidden rooms of calm inside the heart. As you settle here, notice the weight of the day slowly loosening from your shoulders. The passage from waking into sleep has always been seen as a sacred threshold, a space where healing moves easily and the mind can return to balance. The words you are about to receive can reshape the way you meet the night, turning rest into something nourishing and deeply kind. These lines are companions, guiding you towards steady receipt. Restorative sleep. No special belief is required. No training is needed. All that matters is a gentle willingness to let ease touch you. As we begin, allow your body to soften in whatever way feels natural. Feel how your breathing begins to slow on its own as the evening quiet surrounds you. The first line is simple. I am grateful for this day's journey. In the dim light of night, when the world grows still and the noise of activity fades into a distant murmur, there exists a practice both humble and powerful, one that has supported countless people across time. Speaking this line before sleep opens a doorway into gratitude, though not the forced kind that ignores difficulty. It is a deeper recognition that every day, no matter how tangled or imperfect, forms a complete path of learning and becoming. When you whisper, I am grateful for this day's journey, you are not merely listing events. You are honoring the quiet truth that each experience played a role in shaping your growth. There is an old teaching about a farmer whose horse ran away. Neighbors arrived in distress, calling the loss terrible. The farmer simply said, perhaps. The next day, the horse returned, bringing others with it. The neighbors celebrated the good fortune. Again, the farmer replied, perhaps. Events continued to unfold, some appearing fortunate, others not. The farmer's peace came from knowing that each moment belonged to a larger pattern no single glance could understand. Resting now, breathing slowly. You might reflect on your own day. Maybe there was tension at work or a conversation that felt heavy. Perhaps you felt rushed, overlooked, or tired of carrying responsibilities. From this perspective, such moments are not barriers to gratitude. They are the very threads that weave your inner strength. Each challenge offered a chance to discover patience you did not know you had. Each discomfort invited compassion, wisdom, or resilience to grow. Another story tells of a student who complained to his teacher about constant difficulties. The teacher gave him salt and told him to dissolve it in a small glass of water. It tasted bitter and sharp. Then they walked to a wide lake, and the teacher scattered another handful of salt into the vast water. When they drank, the taste was fresh. The pain is the same, the teacher said, only the container changes. When the heart is small and contracted, even a little sorrow feels overwhelming. When the heart expands, the same sorrow becomes easier to hold. Gratitude widens the container. It transforms you from a narrow cup into a spacious lake. Recognizing that every experience, pleasant or painful, contributed something meaningful creates room inside you. Room for acceptance, room for quiet, room for rest that reaches deeper than the surface of the body. This kind of gratitude is not just a mood, it is an understanding of connection. Your day did not unfold alone. So many lives touched yours in seen and unseen ways. The people who prepared your food, those who built the spaces you moved through, the friend who listened, even a stranger whose small kindness crossed your path. When you speak this line, you acknowledge the vast web of support that made your day possible. Think of the air you breathed, offered freely by forests and oceans, the water that traveled through clouds and rivers before reaching you, the simple beauty of light through a window, a warm drink in your hands, a brief moment of laughter. These were quiet gifts, placed gently into your life. As you prepare to hold this first line in your heart, let it settle like warmth spreading through your chest. There is no need to reach toward tomorrow or revisit yesterday. Simply rest in the understanding that today, with all its flaws and blessings, was exactly the ground your spirit walked for a reason. This feeling of gratitude becomes a soft song carrying you towards sleep. In many places of practice, people do not list specific things they appreciate at night. Instead, they rest directly in the sensation of thankfulness itself, the way one sits beside a fire and lets its heat soak in without analyzing the flames. Allow gratitude to glow quietly within you, preparing your whole being for rest. Notice how your shoulders ease downward, your jaw loosens, your breath flows in a slower, steadier rhythm. This is how inner peace expresses itself through the body. When the heart softens with appreciation, the body remembers how to let go. The next line follows naturally. I release what no longer serves. As the night deepens and your body settles further, these words offer a gentle freedom. They loosen the grip of things you may not even realize you have been holding. In the stillness of your room, you are invited to set down whatever has been weighing on your spirit. There is a story of two travelers who came upon a muddy crossing where a young woman could not pass. One of them carried her across, then continued on. Hours later, the other traveler burst out in frustration, unable to believe what had happened. The first simply replied, I set her down at the river. Why are you still carrying her? So often the mind keeps holding moments long after they are over. Old conversations, small mistakes, missed chances, lingering hurts. Go, not because you must, but because the habit of carrying has gone unnoticed. This line is a permission to place those burdens down with kindness. Releasing does not mean denying pain or pretending nothing mattered. It means seeing clearly that clinging to resentment, worry, or regret brings no real benefit now. Imagine carrying a heavy bag filled with stones. Each stone may represent something real, yet hauling them everywhere only drains your strength. Wisdom lies in knowing when to rest the load on the ground. As you lie here, breathing slowly, picture each exhale as a soft letting go. Perhaps you release irritation from earlier today. Perhaps a worry about something beyond your control. Maybe disappointment in yourself or an old ache that has already taught what it could. With each breath out, there is a little more space, a little more ease, As your body sinks closer to the natural rhythm of sleep, life has often been compared to a river, sometimes clear, sometimes clouded with mud. Trying to grasp only the clear water creates struggle. Trying to push away the muddy currents creates struggle. Peace comes from allowing the river to move as it does, without clinging and without resistance. This is the spirit of release. Experiences are not denied. They are simply not trapped and stored in the heart. When you say, "I release what no longer serves," you are choosing not to build dams out of old stories and tight expectations. You allow moments to pass through you the way water passes through open hands. Nothing is forced to stay. Nothing is violently pushed away. There is a gentle trust in the natural movement of life. Picture a tree in late autumn. It does not argue with the season. Leaves fall when their time is complete. The tree does not cling to them out of fear, nor does it mourn each one as a failure. Letting go makes space for quiet renewal beneath the surface. In the same way, releasing inner burdens creates room for new lightness, new clarity, new rest. This release is not a loss of love. Often people hold on tightly because they care deeply, yet true care does not require endless tension. It is like a parent allowing a child to walk independently. Love remains, yet the grip softens. When you release what no longer serves, you are offering yourself that same kindness. You are no longer forcing your heart to carry what it does not need in order to grow. As this line settles into you, notice what gently rises in awareness. There may be a memory, a worry, an old habit of self-criticism. Instead of wrestling with it, acknowledge it with patience. Thank it for whatever protection or lesson it once tried to offer. Then, with the tenderness of opening your hand and letting a balloon drift upward into the night sky, allow it to go. There is a practice that imagines the mind as a house and thoughts and emotions as visitors. Not every visitor must be invited to stay. Some can be greeted at the door with courtesy and then allowed to continue on their way. Release is not a battle. It is a wise choosing of what belongs in the rooms of your inner home. Feel how this letting go shows itself in the body. Muscles soften that you did not realize were tight. The forehead smooths. The tongue rests more heavily in the mouth. Breath moves deeper into the belly. The nervous system begins to remember a state of safety. This is the body's quiet gratitude for being freed from unnecessary strain. When the weight of what no longer serves is set down, rest comes more easily. The body returns to its natural rhythm of repair and renewal. Each time this line is repeated, silently or aloud, it continues its gentle work, loosening old knots and clearing inner space. From this spaciousness, the next line appears. I embrace the stillness within. These words point towards something steady and profound at the center of your being. Beneath the layers of thought, beneath shifting emotions, beneath the endless movement of daily concerns, there is a place of deep stillness. It is not emptiness in a cold sense. It is a living fullness, the quiet ground from which peace, love, and wisdom arise. Right now, even as you listen, this stillness is present. It does not need to be created. It only waits to be noticed. There is a story of a teacher known for great calm. During a violent storm, with thunder shaking the air and rain striking the roof. A student asked how such serenity was possible in the midst of chaos. The teacher led the student to a well and pointed to the water far below. Though the wind howled above, the depths remained undisturbed. Storms touch the surface, depth remains still. Your inner life is like this well. Thoughts may race, emotions may surge, the world may feel loud and uncertain, yet at the deepest level of your being, there is a quiet that nothing can shake. This stillness is not something you must force by stopping thought. Thoughts can continue, just as waves continue on the ocean. Stillness is the depth beneath them. When you say, "I embrace the stillness within," you are recognizing that you are not only the waves, you are also the vast depth that holds them. You can imagine yourself as a mountain. Clouds drift across its peak, changing shape and color, sometimes light and sometimes dark. The mountain does not chase them away. It does not cling to the clear sky. It simply remains, solid and unmoving beneath the passing weather. Thoughts and feelings are like those clouds. They come and go. The awareness that notices them is steady. Rest here for a moment. No need to push away any mental activity. Notice instead the quiet sense of being that is already present. You are the open space in which thoughts appear and fade. You are the silent background that allows every sound, sensation, and memory to be known. There is no requirement to solve problems tonight. No need to plan every step of tomorrow. In this stillness, it is enough simply to be. Another teaching speaks of someone asking, "What is awakened nature?" The reply pointed to something completely ordinary, something found in everyday life. Awakening is not distant or exotic. It is the simple miracle of awareness itself. This awareness is here before any thought about who you are. It is here before any story of success or failure. It is the quiet presence reading these words right now. Embracing stillness means relaxing back into this presence, the way the body relaxes back into a soft bed. Stillness is not lifeless. It is like the pause between musical notes that gives shape to the melody. Without silence, the sound would be noise. Without stillness, the movement would have no place to appear. This inner quiet is the space that allows every experience to unfold. As you rest with this line, notice subtle changes. The heartbeat may slow, settling into a calm and steady rhythm. The breath may lengthen, each inhale and exhale flowing with less effort. Muscles grow heavier, as though the body is gently sinking into the support beneath it. Nothing is being forced. This is a remembering, a returning to a natural state that has always been available. Stillness welcomes you without conditions. It does not ask you to be different. It does not require perfection. It simply offers a place to rest that has been within you from the very beginning. Let yourself lean into that inner quiet now, the way you might lean back into a comfortable chair at the end of a long day. Thoughts can drift in the distance. Sensations can come and go. Beneath it all, the stillness remains, steady and kind, holding you as you move closer to sleep. From this place of inner quiet, the night begins to feel softer, as if the darkness itself were a gentle blanket laid across the world. The third line continues to work in subtle ways, guiding you back again and again to the calm center that has never left you. Each breath is an invitation to sink a little deeper, not into unconsciousness yet, but into simple presence. Thoughts may still appear, small flickers of memory or planning. Let them move like distant fireflies, glowing briefly and fading on their own. There is no need to chase them away or follow where they lead. The stillness beneath them is wide enough to hold everything without strain. When you rest as this, still awareness, the body receives a powerful message of safety. Muscles unwind further. The space behind the eyes softens. Even the hands may loosen, fingers gently uncurling. This is how the mind and body begin to move together toward true rest, not through effort, but through allowing. Out of this stillness, the next line arises naturally. I trust the flow of life. These words are like a quiet exhale of the heart after gratitude has opened you, after release has lightened you, after stillness has steadied you. Trust begins to bloom on its own. Trust does not mean believing that everything will unfold exactly as you wish. It means sensing that you are held within a larger movement, one that has carried you through every day of your life so far. Even the breath you take now happens without conscious effort. The heart beats on its own. Healing continues in sleep without your supervision. There is a story of a person learning to float in water. At first, fear made the body tense, limbs thrashing in an attempt to stay above the surface. The more effort applied, the harder it became. Then a gentle instructor said, "Lean back. Let the water hold you." With hesitation, the body softened, and, to great surprise, it floated easily. Life can be like this water. When you fight constantly against its currents, exhaustion follows. When you allow yourself to be supported, a different experience appears. Saying, "I trust the flow of life," is like leaning back into that support. It is a quiet recognition that you do not have to control every detail in order to be carried forward. Think of how many times things once feared eventually led to unexpected growth. Paths that seemed blocked turned out to redirect you somewhere important. Meetings that felt accidental became meaningful later. The mind cannot always see the full pattern while standing inside a single moment. Trust is the willingness to relax even without the full map. As this trust spreads through you, notice how the belly softens. The chest feels more open. Breathing becomes less guarded. The nervous system senses that it does not need to stay on high alert. Like an animal settling into a safe nest, your whole being prepares for deep rest. Trust also means allowing tomorrow to remain in tomorrow. Plans can wait. Questions can rest unanswered for now. The night is not a time for solving the puzzle of your entire life. It is a time for surrendering into the rhythm that restores you. From trust, the final line emerges like a whisper at the edge of sleep. I rest in peace. This is not a distant goal. It is a description of what is already unfolding as you lie here. Peace is not something you must manufacture. It is what remains when striving pauses. Feel the support beneath your body. The bed holds your weight without complaint. The air moves in and out, steady and faithful. The room around you stands quietly, asking nothing in return. In this moment, there is nowhere else you need to be. I rest in peace is an affirmation of permission. Permission to stop rehearsing the day. Permission to stop preparing for the next one. Permission to simply be a living being at rest, breathing in the dark, wrapped in quiet. Peace does not require that every problem be solved. It does not demand that every relationship be perfect. It exists alongside imperfection, like the calm of night surrounding a village where some lights still flicker on. You can rest even while life remains unfinished. As you repeat this final line softly in your heart, let it spread through you like warm water. Peace in the forehead, peace in the throat, peace in the chest, the belly, the legs, the feet. Nothing left to hold up, nothing left to push away. The 5 lines now weave together gently. Gratitude opens the heart. Release lightens the load. Stillness reveals your depth. Trust softens resistance. Peace welcomes rest. They settle around you like layers of a soft covering, each one helping the body and mind drift closer to sleep. Breathing grows slower, quieter. The spaces between thoughts widen. Awareness becomes hazy at the edges, like mist forming over a calm lake. There is no sharp boundary between waking and sleeping, only a gradual fading, a gentle crossing. If a final thought passes through, let it be a simple one. You have done enough for today. The journey of this day is complete. Now, the deeper journey of rest begins on its own, guided by the same quiet wisdom that beats your heart and moves your breath. Drift now, held by gratitude, lightened by release, grounded in stillness, supported by trust, and wrapped in peace. Sleep comes not as an escape, but as a natural return, a soft dissolving into the embrace of the night. This is what begins to unfold when struggle softens and you allow yourself to rest in your natural state. There is a form of meditation often described as simply sitting. Nothing special is pursued. No unusual experience is required. It is a gentle recognition of what is already present awareness, stillness, the basic okayness of being alive. There is nowhere else you must travel inwardly. Nothing extra you must become, like a clear lake on a windless day. The surface grows calm and reflects the sky, the passing clouds, the trees along the shore. The lake does not try to reflect. Reflection happens on its own when stillness is undisturbed. In the same way, when you relax into inner quiet, understanding appears naturally. Kindness flows without force. Peace begins to feel less like an achievement and more like your natural resting place. This is not about effort. It is the easing of effort, a gentle return to yourself. As this third line settles deeper, notice how it changes the way you relate to thoughts. Instead of being pulled into each story, you begin to rest as the awareness that notices them. Emotions may still move, yet you are the open space in which they rise and fall. The shift from identifying with each wave to recognizing the whole ocean is subtle but profound. This stillness is always here. No busy day can erase it. No difficulty can stain it. No exhaustion can break it. It is like a quiet sanctuary inside you that remains untouched by the outer weather of life. Resting here is not an escape from living. It is finding the stable ground from which you can meet life with balance. Let yourself sink into that recognition now. Your body grows heavier against the support beneath you. Breathing slows, deepens. There is nothing you need to add to this moment. You are not separate from the peace you long for. The peace is the very nature of the awareness listening right now. This stillness becomes a refuge, a gentle inner shelter. From this depth, sleep arises in a natural way, like night falling without anyone needing to pull the sky dark. And from this quiet center, the next line appears, bridging inner stillness with intuitive guidance. I trust the wisdom of my heart. These words point toward a kind of knowing that lives beneath mental noise. Under the analyzing, the doubting, the constant evaluating, there is a quieter intelligence. It does not shout. It does not argue. It simply knows. There is a tale of a teacher who rarely answered questions with explanations. When asked about truth or meaning, he would place his hand over his chest and smile. Eventually, someone asked why. He said that the thinking mind can twist itself in endless circles, while the heart recognizes truth directly, without confusion. Moppel, you have this capacity within you. For much of life, you may have been encouraged to rely only on analysis, weighing pros and cons, searching outside for certainty. Reason has its place, yet deeper guidance often comes as a felt sense, a quiet clarity that arises without complicated thought. When you say, I trust the wisdom of my heart, you acknowledge that you already carry an inner compass. It speaks in sensations of openness or tightness, in feelings of warmth or unease, in a gentle sense of rightness that cannot always be explained. This voice has been with you since you were young, guiding you toward what felt safe, meaningful, or joyful. As you lie here, you might place a hand softly over your chest. Feel the steady rhythm there. It does not hesitate. It does not debate its purpose. It simply continues, moment after moment. In a similar way, the deeper heart knows how to guide you toward what supports your well-being. There is a difference between knowledge gathered from outside and wisdom felt directly. Reading about water is not the same as being immersed in it. Heart wisdom is like that immersion. It is immediate, lived, embodied. Think of times when you followed a quiet inner yes, even if your mind felt uncertain. Perhaps you chose a path that brought deep fulfillment, or stepped toward a relationship, a creative calling, or a needed change because something inside felt alive. That aliveness is the language of the heart. The mind often speaks in worry and obligation. The heart speaks in a different tone, a sense of expansion, relief, or gentle excitement. Your body constantly reflects these signals. When something aligns with deeper truth, there is usually a feeling of space. When it does not, the body may tighten or grow heavy. In this moment before sleep, your heart's wisdom is guiding you toward rest. It knows the body needs renewal. It knows the mind benefits from pausing its endless sorting. You do not have to force sleep. You can trust that a deeper intelligence is already leading you there. There is a story of someone who searched tirelessly for awakening, trying every method, studying every teaching. Exhausted, he finally sat by a river and gave up striving. An old woman nearby told him to stop chasing and start listening. In the quiet that followed, he realized the peace he sought had been present all along. Trusting the heart's wisdom ends the frantic search. It brings you back to yourself. It reminds you that you do not need to be flawless to deserve rest. You do not need to have solved every question to be worthy of peace. Exactly as you are, right now, you are allowed to soften. As you hold this fourth line gently in awareness, notice what message your heart may be offering. Perhaps it says you have done enough for today. Perhaps it reassures you that you are cared for, even if you cannot always feel it clearly. Perhaps it invites you to let tomorrow wait. Receiving this guidance changes your relationship with uncertainty. You do not need to map out every future step tonight. You can trust that, moment by moment, this inner knowing will respond as needed. This trust creates a deep sense of safety, and safety allows sleep to come easily. In many teachings, the heart is seen as the meeting place of wisdom and compassion. True inner guidance never leads toward harm. It inclines naturally toward what supports life, even when the path requires courage or honesty. As the quiet deepens around you, feel how this wisdom is already orchestrating your descent into sleep. It slows the breath, softens the muscles, steadies the heartbeat. You do not have to manage this process. You are being guided from within. Allow this trust to settle like a warm blanket around your awareness. Let it carry you toward the final line, the one that gathers all the others into a single field of rest. I am at peace with all that is. These words invite a profound relaxation of resistance, not resignation. Mobile, not giving up on what matters, but releasing the inner argument with reality in this moment. Fighting what already exists only creates strain. Peace grows when you allow things to be as they are, right here, right now. There is a story of a tree struck by lightning. Part of it stood charred and broken, another part green and full of leaves. Asked whether the tree was ruined or beautiful, the answer was both. Life, too, holds light and shadow together. Being at peace with all that is means seeing the whole tree. It means not exhausting yourself wishing the present moment was shaped differently before allowing yourself to rest. Peace does not depend on perfection. It depends on acceptance as a starting place. This does not mean you stop caring or working toward change. It means you begin from honesty. You acknowledge this is how things are in this moment in your body, in your emotions, in your life, and you soften around that truth. As you lie here, breathing slowly, notice anything you have been resisting today. A feeling, a situation, a limitation. For now, you do not need to fix it. You simply let it exist without pushing it away. In that allowing, tension begins to loosen. There is a saying that you are complete as you are, and still growing. Both are true. You can accept yourself fully in this moment, while life continues to unfold and change. Peace comes from holding both truths together. Let this final line echo quietly through you. I am at peace with all that is. Feel how it settles the mind, how it softens the edges of effort. The day is finished. Nothing more is required. All 5 lines now rest within you like gentle lanterns in the dark. Gratitude, release, stillness, trust, peace. Together they create a calm inner landscape where sleep can arrive naturally. Breath flows in, breath flows out. The body grows heavier, warmer, thoughts drift farther apart, like boats moving into the mist on a quiet lake at dusk. You have done enough. You are enough. The night holds you without condition. Let yourself drift, carried by the soft understanding that, in this moment, nothing is missing and nothing needs to be added. Only rest remains. The body understands this language of permission. When the mind stops insisting that things be different, the muscles receive a signal to loosen their grip. The forehead smooths. The tiny spaces around the eyes soften. The tongue rests gently in the mouth, no longer pressed against the roof in unconscious effort. Even the hands may open slightly, fingers uncurling as though setting something down. Being at peace with all that is includes being at peace with yourself as you are in this moment. Not the ideal version you imagine for the future, not the person you think you should have been by now. Just this living, breathing presence. Lying here, doing the most natural thing in the world, preparing to sleep. There may still be sounds in the distance, faint movements in the house, echoes of the day passing through the mind. Let them be part of what is. Peace does not require perfect silence. It welcomes the hum of life as a background rhythm, like crickets singing in the night while the earth rests. If a thought arises about something unfinished, you can acknowledge it gently and remind yourself that this moment is not for completing tasks. This moment is for allowing the body and mind to return to balance. What remains undone can wait in the soft darkness, held by the same life that holds you now. Notice the steady rise and fall of your breath. You are not managing it. It moves on its own, like waves rolling toward shore and slipping back again. Each exhale is a quiet gesture of surrender, a small release into gravity and support. Each inhale is a gentle receiving, life entering without effort. I am at peace with all that is means you do not need to argue with the pace of your own healing. Some nights the mind quiets quickly, other nights it takes longer. Both are included in what is, even restlessness. It's, when met with patience, slowly dissolves. Imagine the sky at dusk, colors fading gradually into deep blue. No sharp line marks the exact moment day becomes night. In the same way, there is no need to pinpoint the instant wakefulness becomes sleep. You are already in the soft in-between, where awareness grows hazy and the edges of thought blur. This acceptance reaches into the deeper layers of your being. Old tensions stored in the body feel the invitation to unwind. The belly loosens, no longer held tight in unconscious protection. The chest moves more freely. The heartbeat settles into an easy rhythm, steady and calm. Peace with all that is also includes your emotions. If there is lingering sadness, let it float in a wide sky of acceptance. If there is a trace of anxiety, let it be a small ripple on a vast lake. Nothing needs to be forced away. What is allowed to exist without resistance often softens on its own. You might picture yourself resting at the bottom of a gentle valley, surrounded by quiet hills. Weather may change above, clouds drifting, winds moving. Yet in the valley there is shelter. Acceptance is like this valley, a place where the sharp winds of struggle lose their force. From here, even the idea of trying to sleep can be released. Sleep is not something you achieve through effort. It is something that happens when conditions are right, like a flower closing its petals at night. Your role is simply to provide kindness, safety, and space. The rest unfolds naturally. Feel how supported you are right now. The surface beneath you holds your full weight. The air surrounds you on every side. Gravity gently draws you downward, not as a burden, but as a cradle. You are being held by the earth itself. As the 5 lines continue to echo quietly in the background of your awareness, they begin to blend together into a single feeling. Gratitude softens the heart. Release lightens the mind. Stillness steadies your center. Trust eases the need to control. Peace wraps around all of it like a warm blanket. Breathing grows quieter, more subtle. The space between one thought and the next widens like the gap between distant stars. You may notice brief moments where there is simply nothing to follow, only a floating sense of being. These are gentle doorways into sleep. If the mind stirs again, there is no problem. Each return to these lines is like being rocked softly back toward rest. Over time, the body learns this rhythm. The nervous system remembers that nighttime is for restoration, not for vigilance. You are allowed to let go completely now. The day has released you. Your responsibilities have loosened their hold. The world continues turning without your supervision. In this small corner of the night, your only task is to be. Let your awareness grow dimmer, like a lamp being turned down slowly. Sensations blur at the edges. The boundary between your body and the space around you feels soft, less defined. You drift in a field of quiet comfort. There is nothing you must understand, nothing you must improve before sleep arrives. You are already worthy of deep rest. The same life that carried you through the day is now guiding you gently into the healing dark. Rest in that trust. Rest in that stillness. Rest in the simple truth that, for this moment, all is allowed to be exactly as it is. And in that allowing, sleep comes softly, naturally, like a tide rising to meet the shore. The tide continues to rise, slow and unhurried, lifting you without effort. Awareness grows softer, like mist settling over a quiet landscape. Sounds seem farther away now, as though heard from across a wide field at dusk. Even the sense of the body becomes gentler, less defined, floating in a warm field of ease. Breath moves like a lullaby, steady and unforced. Each exhale carries you a little deeper. Each inhale cradles you in quiet renewal. There is a feeling of being rocked by something larger than thought, a natural rhythm that has guided living beings into sleep since the beginning of time. Nothing more is asked of you. The day has closed its doors. Conversations, decisions, unfinished details drift beyond the horizon of this moment. They no longer need your attention. Night gathers them in its wide embrace, holding them until morning light returns. You rest in the space where effort has ended. Muscles sink fully into support. The tiny adjustments the body once made to stay upright or alert are no longer necessary. Gravity becomes a friend, gently drawing you into stillness. Thoughts now are like faint echoes in a distant valley. They rise briefly and fade before taking shape. You do not follow them. You do not need to. The deeper current of rest is stronger than any passing idea. There is a quiet sense of being held from all sides, the bed beneath you, the air around you, the steady turning of the earth itself, all of it supports this simple act of letting go. You are part of a vast rhythm, breathing in the dark with countless other sleeping beings. If a last flicker of awareness notices this peace, let that noticing soften too. There is no need to stay awake to witness calm. Calm remains whether you are watching or not. Like a candle gently going out, consciousness dims without struggle. The 5 lines have done their work. Gratitude has warmed the heart. Release has opened space. Stillness has revealed your depth. Trust has eased the way forward. Peace has settled like a soft blanket over everything. Now even the words can fade. Meaning dissolves into sensation. Sensation dissolves into quiet. Quiet dissolves into sleep. You drift beyond the edges of thought, beyond the need to understand, into the simple healing darkness where the body restores itself and the mind resets in silence. There is nothing to hold, nothing to resist, nothing to become, only rest. And in this gentle surrender, sleep takes you completely, like the night sky welcoming a single star back into its endless calm. They are doorways into a way of being where peace is no longer dependent on circumstances. Sleep becomes a natural extension of that peace, not an escape from agitation, but a deepening into what has always been here. As these teachings settle into you, the night feels less like an absence of activity and more like a presence of quiet support. Darkness is no longer empty. It is full of gentle restoration, like rich soil unseen beneath the surface, quietly nourishing roots. The river image returns in a softer form now. You are no longer standing on the bank, watching it flow. You are the current itself, moving without strain. Obstacles may still exist in the landscape of your life. Yet in this moment none of them require your effort. The current knows how to move when the time comes. For now, it simply carries you into deeper rest. Awareness loosens its sharp edges. Thoughts no longer form complete sentences. They dissolve halfway, like shapes drawn in water. The need to understand fades. The need to prepare fades. Even the sense of practicing begins to disappear, replaced by simple being. Your body has fully received the message. It is safe now. The jaw rests. Shoulders sink. The small muscles along the spine release their quiet vigilance. Organs work in steady harmony, repairing, balancing, restoring. You do not direct this process. Life handles it for you. Breath becomes so soft it almost feels like it is breathing itself. The pause between exhale and inhale stretches gently, not from holding, but from ease. In these pauses there is a taste of the stillness the teachings point toward, not something distant or mystical, just the natural quiet that appears when nothing is being pushed. You may notice that even the idea of "I am at peace" begins to thin out. Words are no longer needed. The experience remains without description, like a lake at night reflecting the moon. There is calm without commentary. Somewhere in the background, the wisdom of the stories continues to echo without effort. The river that flows around stone, the student who made peace with a busy mind, the monk who went to peace instead of merely going to sleep. These are no longer ideas to think about. They are gentle impressions, felt more than understood. Your nervous system, freed from the work of resistance, shifts fully into restoration. Heartbeat steady, blood pressure easing, brainwaves slowing into the rhythms of deep sleep. This is the body's ancient intelligence returning to balance. If a dream begins to form, it rises from this field of calm. If no dream comes, calm remains. Peace does not depend on what appears. It is the space in which all appearances come and go. You are no longer trying to cross the bridge from wakefulness to sleep. You have already crossed without noticing the exact step. The sacred lines have done their work quietly, like hands guiding you in the dark, and then letting go once you are steady. Night holds you the way the earth holds a seed. Nothing seems to be happening on the surface, yet profound growth unfolds in hidden ways. Cells repair, memories integrate. Emotions settle into new balance. Energy renews itself in silence. There is a sense now of drifting beyond even the gentle guidance of these words. Language grows heavier, less necessary. Meaning softens into pure sensation warmth. Weight, floating, ease. The teachings do not end here. They continue beneath awareness, shaping the quality of your rest, the tone of your dreams, the way morning will feel when light returns. Peace plants itself deeply during these quiet hours. If awareness flickers once more, let it be met with kindness, not effort. Like a parent adjusting a blanket over a sleeping child, simply notice and allow comfort to return. No correction is needed. No progress is required. The river flows through night without sound. The moon moves across the sky without hurry. Your breath rises and falls in the same timeless rhythm. You are part of this vast, gentle movement. Led, held within it, carried by it. Even the sense of being carried fades. Only the carrying remains. Only rest. Only the soft, healing dark where body and mind return to their natural harmony, where peace is not practiced but lived without thought. And in this boundless quiet, sleep deepens completely, wrapping you in the same stillness that has always been waiting beneath every moment of your life. Stillness deepens beyond the reach of effort. The layers of identity that felt solid during the day grow thin and transparent. There is no need to hold a name, a role, or a story here. The night does not ask who you are. It simply receives you. The body now rests in a way that cannot be imitated through willpower. Muscles release in waves, one region after another surrendering to gravity's quiet embrace. The forehead smooths completely. The space around the heart feels open and unguarded. Even the breath seems to come from a deeper place, slow and tidal. What remains of awareness is soft and spacious, like a wide sky just before dawn, though dawn is still far away. Thoughts, if they arise at all, are faint impressions without weight. They pass like birds flying high overhead, never landing. The teachings shared earlier are no longer remembered in words. They live as a felt sense of safety, of allowing, of gentle trust in the unfolding of life. Acceptance is no longer an idea to practice. It is the atmosphere you are resting in. In this depth of rest, the boundaries of the body feel less defined. Sensations blur into a field of warmth and ease. The place where your skin meets the air is no longer a sharp line. There is just a continuous softness, inside and out, not clearly separate. Breathing continues its quiet rhythm. Inhale arrives like a small wave touching shore. Exhale recedes just as gently. Between them is a pause that feels vast, a silent space where nothing needs to happen. These pauses stretch naturally, not from control, but from profound relaxation. The nervous system, freed from vigilance, shifts into its most restorative patterns. Deep within, healing processes awaken. Cells repair microscopic wear. The brain sorts and integrates the impressions of the day. Hormones balance themselves in the dark. This is ancient work, guided by a wisdom older than thought. If dreams form, they float through a mind already at peace. Images may come and go like clouds across a moonlit sky. Whether they are vivid or faint, pleasant or strange, something deeper remains undisturbed, like the sky untouched by the shapes that move within it. You are resting now at a level beneath preference. Nothing needs to be added. Nothing needs to be taken away. The moment is complete in its quiet simplicity. Even the sense of resting begins to dissolve. There is only rest itself, happening. No doer behind it. No watcher required. Just the gentle, continuous unfolding of night. The world beyond this room has softened too. Cities hum more quietly. Winds move through trees with a slower voice. Countless beings sleep, each held in their own space of darkness and renewal. You are part of this vast shared rhythm, a single breath within a sleeping planet. Time loses its usual shape here. Minutes do not need to be counted. The night is not something to get through. It is an ocean you float in, supported on every side. If the mind briefly stirs, it does so like a ripple on deep water, small and temporary. Beneath the surface, stillness remains unchanged. There is no need to respond. The depth holds everything. This is the peace the teachings pointed toward, not dramatic, not distant, just profoundly ordinary and endlessly gentle. A peace that does not depend on silence, yet includes silence. A peace that does not depend on perfect conditions, yet allows everything to settle. Your body trusts this now. Your mind trusts this now. The habit of bracing against life has loosened for the night. In its place is a quiet confidence in the natural rhythm of release and renewal. Breath fades further into the background. Sensation, dim. Awareness thins to a silver thread, then softer still, like mist dissolving in open air. There is no edge where you end and rest begins. No boundary where thought stops and sleep starts. Only a gradual, seamless sinking into the deep, healing dark. And here, held in effortless stillness, you drift fully into the quiet mystery of sleep, where peace continues without needing to be known. Night carries you farther than effort ever could. There is no map here, no direction to follow, only a gentle descent into layers of rest that have always known how to receive you. The mind has loosened its grip on form. The body no longer asks to be arranged or adjusted. Everything has found its natural place. Breath is now a whisper, so light it seems to breathe itself. The spaces between breaths open like vast meadows of silence. In these open spaces, nothing is missing. Nothing is waiting to happen. Rest is complete even before sleep deepens. Awareness, once bright and focused, has become wide and diffused. Like moonlight through thin clouds, it does not search. It does not hold. It simply allows. Sensations drift through without claiming ownership. A distant sound may arise, then fade without leaving a trace. The world continues, yet you are cradled in a stillness that does not need the world to stop. Deep within, ancient rhythms move through you. The slow pulse of circulation, the quiet exchange of breath and blood, the subtle currents of the nervous system recalibrating toward balance. None of this asks for your attention. Life is tending to itself with effortless intelligence. The sense of being a separate someone softens even more. The stories of today have dissolved completely, like footprints washed away by a rising tide. Roles, responsibilities, beds, unfinished thoughts, all of them have been set down at the edge of sleep, where they can rest until morning light returns. Here, there is only presence without a center, stillness without an owner, peace without a reason. If dreams begin to weave their soft images, they float in the same vastness. Scenes form and dissolve, emotions flicker and change, yet something deeper remains untouched, like the dark sky that holds every star without being altered by their shining. This depth of rest is not something you create. It is something you fall back into, like a child returning to familiar arms. The body remembers. The heart remembers. The deeper mind remembers the way. Gravity feels kinder now, as if the earth itself is supporting you more tenderly. The surface beneath you is no longer separate from the body, resting on it. There is just one continuous field of support. Time has thinned into almost nothing. There is no sense of how long you have been here, and it does not matter. The night is not a stretch of hours to pass through. It is a boundless space where renewal happens quietly, beyond the reach of clocks. Any last fragments of tension melt on their own. The jaw unclenches. The belly softens. The tiny muscles around the eyes release completely. Each letting go happens without instruction, guided by a wisdom far older than intention. Silence deepens, yet it is a living silence, full and gentle. It hums with quiet restoration. It holds you the way deep water holds a floating leaf, without effort, without demand. There is nothing to protect here, nothing to achieve, nothing to understand. The mind, relieved of its duties, sinks into the same peace the body has already found. In this profound ease, the boundary between waking and sleeping disappears entirely. There is no moment you can point to and say, "Now I am asleep." The transition is too smooth, too natural, like twilight slowly becoming night. You are carried now by the great tide of rest that moves through all living beings. Forests settle, oceans darken. There, creatures burrow, nest, curl into warmth. Across the world, countless hearts beat in slower rhythms. You are part of this vast, breathing stillness. Nothing has been forced. Nothing has been left undone. The day released you, and you released the day. Peace remains, quiet and unbroken, as you drift beyond even the sense of drifting, into the deep, dream soft dark, where healing continues and stillness holds you without end. They open into a way of being that rises beyond the shifting highs and lows of moment-to-moment experience. When these understandings settle into you, it becomes clear that peace does not rely on conditions outside you. It is your original ground, sometimes veiled by habits of thought, yet never truly absent, always ready to be noticed again. In another monastery, an elderly monk followed a practice that puzzled everyone around him. Each evening before lying down, he bowed deeply to his bed. The younger monks could not understand, and finally asked why he offered such respect to an ordinary object. He answered with a gentle smile, saying he bowed to honor a great teacher. His bed, he explained, showed him nightly how to let go, how to surrender fully, how to trust being held, how to release effort and simply receive. It was a master of non-doing, quietly teaching the path of peace. This story reflects the spirit of trusting the wisdom of the heart. The heart's intelligence often appears as a simple knowing of when to move and when to be still, when to apply effort and when to soften into rest. Your bed becomes a guide in the art of receiving rather than grasping, of being supported rather than believing you must carry everything alone. When you lie down with this openness and trust, sleep becomes more than physical recovery. It becomes part of your inner practice. There is an old saying in Zen that you are complete as you are, and you could also grow. A student once wondered how this could apply to sleep. Her teacher replied that her sleep was already whole, whether deep or light, filled with dreams or empty of them, long or brief. Yet her relationship to sleep could become more conscious, more appreciative, more reverent. The refinement was not in controlling the night, but in honoring it. When sleep is approached as something sacred, even restless nights can open into peace. This understanding touches the line about being at peace with all that is. Peace includes your nights exactly as they unfold. Some evenings may be restless, others deeply still. Both can be met with the same gentle acceptance. The aim is not flawless sleep. The aim is an undisturbed heart, whatever sleep brings. A master once described the difference between ordinary sleep and awakened sleep. Ordinary sleep, he said, resembles a small death where awareness fades into unconsciousness. Awakened sleep is like a quiet rebirth, where the sense of a small self dissolves, but pure awareness remains. In one, you lose yourself. In the other, you discover something deeper. The sacred lines are a preparation for this kind of rest. There is no need to force such depth. These teachings work gradually, reshaping your relationship with rest night after night. Simply holding the intention to approach sleep with awareness begins the transformation. The body relaxes more readily. The mind settles more easily. The spirit leans into the peace that has always been present. As you continue resting now, feeling the body sink into comfort and the breath move in a slow, steady rhythm, you join a long lineage of beings who have understood sleep as more than necessity. Night becomes a chance to release the narrow sense of self and rediscover something vast. Morning becomes an opportunity to carry that quiet into the movements of daily life. How you sleep influences how you live, and how you live shapes how you sleep. These 5 lines form a bridge between the two, infusing both with gratitude, release, stillness, trust, and peace. This is how simple rest opens into profound renewal. The practice of mindful rest deepens as each line works not only at the surface of thought, but in the deeper layers of your being. Speaking these phrases before bed is like planting seeds in the fertile ground of the subconscious. While the thinking mind sleeps, these seeds take root, gradually growing into patterns of ease that touch every part of life. In the mountains of Tibet, monks practice what is called dream yoga. This is not about controlling dreams, but about remembering one's true nature, even while asleep. The preparation begins long before lying down, through the cultivation of intention and awareness. The sacred lines offer a gentle, accessible doorway into a similar orientation, available to anyone longing for deeper rest and greater peace. The first line, gratitude for the day's journey, nourishes what might be called the layer of appreciation in consciousness. When you end the day with sincere thankfulness, you train the deeper mind to notice blessings more readily. This is not denial of hardship. It is a widening of perception to include the support and learning always present, even in difficulty. Over time, this reshapes inner pathways so that appreciation arises more naturally, without strain. Imagine the mind as a garden. Throughout the day, many kinds of seeds fall into its soil. Seeds of worry from troubling news, seeds of irritation from delays and misunderstandings, seeds of self-criticism from comparison. If you sleep without tending the garden, these scattered plantings may grow unchecked. Ending the day with gratitude is like watering the seeds of appreciation so that they become what flourishes. An old Chinese story tells of a farmer who believed that the richness of his harvest depended on how he treated the land during winter. While the fields lay quiet, he walked among them, offering words of thanks to the soil, the rain, and the sun. Neighbors laughed at him for speaking to empty fields. Yet, when spring arrived, his crops were the most abundant. He would say, "The earth remembers every word." Gratitude spoken in the cold season blossoms later as abundance. Your deeper mind is like that soil, holding every thought you plant before sleep. Consistent gratitude creates conditions where contentment grows with less effort. Notice how gratitude feels in the body. When you genuinely appreciate something simple, perhaps the warmth around you or the steady movement of breath, the nervous system softens. Appreciation soothes and opens, easing what has tightened through the day. The second line, releasing what no longer serves, works on the layer of letting go. Suffering often arises not from events themselves, but from clinging to what has passed or grasping for what has not arrived. Holding too tightly creates strain in the mind and body. Learning to release is like holding water with open palms rather than clenched fists. In an old monastery, a monk known for his steady calm would bring students to a fountain and ask them to observe the water. It did not try to hold its shape. It did not resist its own movement. Because it flowed freely, It remained clear and could nourish all it touched. Living like water, he said, reveals the secret of peace. When resentment is held, it becomes stagnant. When expectations are rigid, reality collides with them painfully. Letting go brings flexibility and resilience. This does not mean indifference. It means caring enough to release narrow demands about how life must appear, aligning instead with a larger movement. Nightly release functions like a gentle cleansing. Small frustrations and disappointments accumulate through the day. Without conscious letting go, they build into a background tension. Releasing them each evening prevents this build-up. You enter sleep lighter, clearer, more open to restoration. As you soften your grip on outcomes, the body responds. The jaw loosens, the shoulders drop, the whole system shifts toward ease. The third line, embracing the stillness within, points to your deepest nature, an awareness that is already peaceful. This stillness does not need to be created. It is the open space in which thoughts and feelings appear. The practice is learning to rest attention there, rather than being pulled only into changing mental content. A student once struggled for years trying to force her mind into silence. Frustrated, she asked her teacher for help. He asked who was aware of the busy mind. When she turned attention toward the awareness itself, she discovered it was already quiet and steady, like the sky behind passing clouds. This is the stillness you are invited to recognize. You do not have to stop thoughts. You simply notice that you are the awareness in which they come and go. Identifying with that spaciousness brings an immediate sense of peace. The fourth line, trusting the wisdom of the heart, connects you with an inner guidance that blends clarity and compassion. This wisdom is deeper than emotion and broader than analysis. It senses what supports your well-being and naturally inclines toward love and forgiveness. In Zen, there is a practice of listening with the heart, perceiving through intuitive knowing rather than only through thought. When you trust this deeper intelligence, you feel aligned with a larger rhythm. Your heartbeat and breath reflect patterns shared by all life. Trusting this connection brings a sense of being supported, which allows deeper relaxation. Think of times you chose from the heart rather than from fear or pressure. Those choices often led to experiences of meaning and fulfillment. This same inner guidance can carry you into rest, reminding you that not everything must be solved before sleep. The final line, being at peace with all that is, gathers all the others into a single gesture of acceptance. This is not resignation. It is the courageous willingness to meet reality as it stands, using that honesty as the ground for wise action. A Zen master once said he never argued with reality. Rain was allowed to be rain, sun to be sun, sadness to be sadness, joy to be joy. Resistance, he taught, prolongs struggle. Acceptance opens the door to change. When you stop fighting what is already here, energy becomes available for a creative response. Actions born from peace tend to be more effective because they are aligned with truth rather than fueled by opposition. As you rest in this acceptance, notice how it deepens gratitude, eases release, stabilizes stillness, and strengthens trust. Peace with what is also changes how you relate to sleep. You do not need perfect conditions. You can allow tiredness, sensations, and passing thoughts to be present without conflict. This acceptance forms the ideal ground for healing rest. Together, these 5 lines create a gentle spiral of peace, each one supporting the others, each turn leading deeper into ease. Practiced night after night, they begin to feel familiar, like trusted companions guiding you toward rest. As this spiral continues to turn within you, its movement becomes subtler, less like something you are doing and more like something naturally unfolding. The phrases you have reflected on begin to echo without words, shaping the atmosphere of the mind the way a gentle fragrance fills a room long after a flower has opened. You no longer need to repeat them deliberately. Their meaning has started to settle beneath thought, influencing the tone of your inner world in quiet, lasting ways. Gratitude gradually shifts from a practice into a disposition. Instead of searching for reasons to be thankful, you begin to notice that appreciation is already present, waiting to be acknowledged. Small things that once passed unnoticed begin to glow softly in awareness. The simple comfort of lying down, the steady rhythm of breathing, the quiet protection of the walls around you. Even challenges from the day can be seen through a wider lens, as teachers that shaped patience, strength, or understanding. When this gentle reframing does not deny difficulty, it places each experience into a larger field of meaning, where nothing is wasted. As appreciation deepens, the habit of release becomes more natural as well. Letting go stops feeling like a task and starts to resemble a reflex of wisdom. When a tense thought arises, there is a growing ability to see it, feel it, and allow it to dissolve without needing to follow it. The mind learns that it does not have to chase every story it tells. Space opens between awareness and mental movement, and in that space, freedom quietly expands. You might notice this especially at night, when the usual distractions fall away. Old memories or future concerns sometimes surface in the quiet. Instead of resisting them or getting pulled into long inner conversations, you can let them drift through like leaves floating across a pond. The water is not disturbed by their passing. Awareness remains clear and undisturbed beneath the surface activity. This is the living experience of release. Stillness, the third quality, begins to feel less like an absence of noise and more like a presence that has always been here. It is the silent background that remains whether thoughts are busy or calm. As you become familiar with it, you realize that stillness does not depend on perfect conditions. It is available in the middle of sound, in the middle of sensation, even in the middle of emotion. It is the quiet capacity to allow everything. Resting as this stillness brings a profound sense of safety. You discover that you are not as fragile as you once believed. Thoughts can come and go without defining you. Emotions can rise and fall without overwhelming you. Sensations can change without threatening your core. You begin to trust the openness that holds all experience. This trust is not something you manufacture. It grows naturally from repeated glimpses of the steady awareness that you are. Trusting the wisdom of the heart also becomes more intuitive over time. You may start to sense a gentle inner leaning toward what feels kind, balanced, and true. This guidance rarely shouts. It often appears as a soft nudge, a quiet sense of rightness or unease. When you honor it during the day, your nights tend to be more peaceful. Living in alignment reduces the inner conflict that can disturb rest. There is less to replay, less to justify, less to regret. The heart's wisdom also encourages forgiveness, including forgiveness toward yourself. Many people carry subtle self-judgments into sleep, replaying moments they wish had gone differently. This tightens the mind and body, making rest shallow. When the heart is allowed to soften, it remembers that being human includes imperfection. It allows learning without harshness. In that gentleness, the nervous system settles. Sleep comes more easily to a heart that is not at war with itself. Being at peace with all that is gradually reveals itself as the natural result of the other qualities maturing together. Acceptance stops feeling like a concept and becomes a lived experience. You notice that reality is already unfolding on its own, breath by breath, moment by moment. Fighting this flow brings tension. Allowing it brings ease. This does not mean you become passive. It means your actions arise from clarity rather than resistance. When you lie down with this spirit of acceptance, even wakefulness in the night can be held in peace. Instead of turning sleeplessness into a problem, you can meet it as another moment of being alive. The body rests even if the mind is lightly aware. Often, the simple act of not struggling allows sleep to return naturally. Peace becomes more important than controlling the state of consciousness. Over weeks and months, these attitudes begin to weave themselves into the deeper layers of the mind. Just as water shapes stone through steady contact, these gentle reflections reshape long-standing patterns of tension. The body learns that night is a time of safety. The mind learns it does not have to stay on guard. The heart learns it is supported by something larger than individual effort. You may also notice changes in how you meet the morning. Waking can feel less abrupt, less like being thrown back into demands. There may be a brief sense of continuity, as if the quiet of the night is still present beneath the first thoughts of the day. Carrying a trace of that stillness into activity becomes easier. The boundary between meditation and ordinary life grows thinner. In this way, sleep and waking begin to support each other. Peace cultivated at night influences the tone of the day. The way you move through the day influences the depth of your rest. The 5 lines are not confined to the moments before bed. They quietly echo in conversations, in pauses between tasks, in the way you respond to difficulty or joy. Gratitude may arise while walking. Release may happen in the middle of a challenging exchange. Stillness may be noticed while waiting. Trust may guide a decision. Acceptance may soften a disappointment. This integration is gentle and gradual. There is no need to measure progress. The very desire to evaluate can create tension. Trust that every sincere moment of reflection plants a seed. Some sprout quickly. Others take time beneath the surface before showing themselves. The process is organic, guided by a wisdom deeper than planning. As you rest now, you are participating in this quiet transformation. Nothing dramatic needs to occur. No special state must be reached. Simply lying here, breathing, allowing the body to be supported and the mind to soften is enough. The teachings you have touched are working in unseen ways, aligning you with a more natural rhythm of being. Feel how the breath continues without effort, Feel how the body knows how to release into gravity. Feel how awareness is already present, open and untroubled, even when thoughts flicker at the edges. This simple noticing is a doorway into profound ease. You are learning, night after night, how to come home to the peace that does not depend on circumstances. Let everything be just as it is in this moment. The journey of the day has ended. The quiet work of restoration has begun. Rest deepens on its own when nothing is forced. The body understands how to mend and restore when given the simple permission of ease. Beneath layers of habit and tension, there is an ancient intelligence quietly guiding every heartbeat, every breath, every subtle process of healing. When the mind loosens its constant supervision, this deeper wisdom comes forward, working in silence. You may begin to sense sleep, not as a loss of awareness, but as a gentle returning to the ground of being that is present before thought forms and after it fades. This ground is familiar, though rarely noticed, like the soft darkness behind closed eyes that has always been there. Trusting this return allows you to drift without fear, like floating on calm water that holds you without effort. At times, as the edges of waking consciousness blur, images or fragments of dreams may flicker briefly. There is no need to follow them. Let them pass the way clouds pass across a wide sky. Awareness itself remains open and unchanged, even as its contents shift. Resting as this open presence brings a sense of vastness that is deeply soothing. The nervous system responds to this trust by settling further. The breath becomes slower, more subtle. Muscles release layers of holding you may not have known were there. The face softens. The tongue rests easily. The small movements of adjustment grow fewer. The whole body receives the message that it is safe to let go completely. In this safety, the boundary between inner and outer begins to feel less solid. The air touching your skin, the quiet of the room, the weight of blankets, and the awareness noticing all of it seem part of a single field of experience. There is less sense of being a separate observer and more sense of simply being. This simplicity is profoundly restful. Moments of wakefulness during the night can be held in the same field. If the eyes open briefly or the mind brightens for a time, nothing has gone wrong. These, too, are movements within the larger rhythm of rest. Meeting them without resistance allows the body to return to sleep more easily. Even quiet wakefulness can be nourishing when it is free of struggle. As peace with what is becomes more stable, fear of sleeplessness loosens its grip. You no longer measure the night against rigid expectations. You listen instead to the body's changing needs. Some nights call for long, deep sleep. Others invite lighter rest or quiet reflection. Trusting this natural variation reduces pressure and supports balance over time. This trust extends beyond the night. You may find yourself moving through days with a subtler sense of being supported. Challenges still arise, yet they are met with a little more space around them. Reactions soften more quickly. There is a growing recognition that experience is always changing, always moving. And that your deepest nature remains steady within that movement. Gratitude continues to flower in unexpected places. You might feel thankful for a pause in the middle of a busy day, for a kind glance from a stranger, For the simple fact of being alive and breathing, appreciation becomes less dependent on special events and more woven into ordinary moments. This quiet thankfulness nourishes resilience and joy. Release, too, becomes woven into daily living. Small disappointments are allowed to pass without taking root. Old stories about yourself or others may arise, yet they are seen more clearly as stories, not fixed truths. With this clarity, you can let them go more easily. Life feels lighter when not weighed down by constant mental replay. Stillness reveals itself in the midst of activity. You may notice a silent pause between breaths, a moment of simple presence while listening, a brief sense of openness while walking. These glimpses remind you that peace is not confined to special conditions. It is the background of every experience, waiting to be recognized. The wisdom of the heart continues to guide quietly. Decisions may feel less driven by urgency and more aligned with what truly matters. Compassion for yourself and others grows naturally from this alignment. When mistakes happen, they are met with understanding rather than harsh judgment. This gentleness creates inner conditions that support deep rest at night. Acceptance matures into a quiet confidence in life's unfolding. You see more clearly that not everything is under personal control, and this recognition brings relief rather than despair. You participate fully where you can, and you release what lies beyond your reach. This balance between engagement and surrender is the essence of peaceful living. As you lie here now, all these qualities mingle in a soft, wordless way. There is nothing you need to repeat, nothing you need to achieve. The work of the day is done. The practice of the night is simply to allow. Allow the breath to move. Allow the body to be held. Allow awareness to rest in itself. The mind may drift through fragments of memory or imagination. Let them move freely, like distant music fading in and out. There is no need to make sense of them. Deeper than these passing forms is a quiet presence that does not come or go. Resting as that presence is the heart of true ease. Feel how the earth supports you without asking anything in return. Feel how life continues breathing you, even in sleep. Feel how peace is not something you create, but something you uncover when striving falls away. This uncovering happens naturally when you stop interfering. Night gathers you into its wide stillness. The world grows softer, sounds more distant, thoughts more transparent. Awareness loosens its focus and spreads into a gentle, boundless dark. There is no edge to this dark, no center that must be maintained, only a calm openness that welcomes you completely. Let yourself sink into that openness now. Let go of the day, of the sense of being a separate doer, of the need to understand. Trust the ancient rhythm that carries all beings into rest. Trust the quiet intelligence that knows how to heal, how to balance, how to renew. Nothing more is required. Peace is already here, holding you. Sleep comes like a soft tide rising around a resting shore, covering everything in its calm embrace. This is what the 5 sacred lines gradually create in your life. Ordinary moments begin to glow with a quiet depth. Washing dishes, walking to the door, answering a message, All carry the same gentle presence you touch before sleep. Nothing special has been added, yet everything feels subtly transformed because you are meeting it with a different quality of being. Peace stops being something you search for in ideal conditions and becomes the way you move through imperfect ones. You still experience joy and disappointment, ease and challenge, energy and fatigue. The waves of human life continue to rise and fall. Beneath them, though, there is a growing familiarity with the calm depth that does not rise or fall. Returning to this depth becomes as natural as breathing. Each evening, when night comes again, you recognize the feeling like an old friend approaching. The dimming light, the quieting sounds, the softening pace of the world all signal return to inwardness. Your body begins preparing for rest long before you lie down. Hormones shift. Their senses turn inward. Thoughts lose some of their urgency. You are part of a vast orchestration happening across the planet as countless beings also turn towards sleep. Lying down becomes less of a collapse from exhaustion and more of a conscious gesture of trust. You place your body on the bed the way a traveler might place a pack on the ground after a long day's walk. There is relief, yes, but also gratitude and quiet reverence. This simple act marks the transition from doing to being, from effort to allowing. The 5 sacred lines rise gently in memory, not as rigid formulas, but as familiar doorways. Gratitude gathers the scattered threads of the day and weaves them into a sense of completion. Release loosens the knots that formed in moments of stress or grasping. Stillness opens like a vast inner sky. Trust softens the last traces of control. Peace spreads through everything without needing to be forced. Some nights this movement feels smooth and immediate. Other nights the mind circles. The body shifts. Old emotions ask for attention. Nothing has gone wrong on those nights. They simply reveal places where care and patience are still unfolding. Meeting even restlessness with kindness becomes part of the practice. Another way peace deepens its roots. Gradually, the boundary between formal practice and ordinary life fades. You might find gratitude appearing spontaneously in the middle of a busy afternoon. Release may happen in a single conscious exhale after a tense moment. Stillness might be felt while waiting at a red light. Trust may guide a decision without long internal debate. Peace may return in the midst of noise and movement. This is how the circle turns. Night practice nourishes day living. Day awareness enriches night rest. Neither stands alone. Each supports the other in an ongoing rhythm that requires no perfection, only sincerity. Missing a night or forgetting a line does not break the circle. You simply begin again, as gently as you would guide a wandering child back to your side. Over months and years, the effects accumulate in quiet ways. You may notice you recover more quickly from emotional storms. You may speak a little more kindly to yourself when you stumble. You may sense a deeper patience with others' struggles, recognizing reflections of your own. These are signs of inner ground becoming more stable, more at ease. Sleep itself may change in quality. Even when hours are short, rest can feel more nourishing. Dreams may become clearer or simply less agitating. Waking in the night may hold less anxiety and more simple awareness. Morning may arrive with a subtle sense of having been held, restored in ways you do not need to understand. Through it all, the essential discovery remains simple. Peace was never absent. It was only overlooked amid habit and hurry. The sacred lines do not manufacture peace. They clear the view so what has always been here can be felt again, like clouds parting to reveal a sky that was never damaged by their passing. As you rest now, on the edge of sleep or already drifting closer, there is nothing further to accomplish. The rhythm of night continues whether you attend to it or not. Stars move in their silent paths. The earth turns steadily. Tides rise and fall. Within this vast movement, your small human life is tenderly included. Let that inclusion be enough. Let yourself be carried as countless beings have been carried through uncountable nights. Let breath breathe itself. Let the heart beat in its quiet wisdom. Let awareness soften its focus and widen into the gentle dark. The circle will turn again. Morning will come. Activity will return. Choices will arise. And beneath it all, the same stillness, the same trust, the same peace will remain available, waiting to be noticed in the middle of whatever the day brings. For now, there is only this soft descent into rest. No striving, no fixing, no becoming. Only the simple grace of being held by night, by life, by the quiet presence that has never left you. Sleep unfolds within that presence like a flower closing its petals at dusk, safe in the promise of another dawn. As this gentle descent continues, you may notice how naturally your awareness begins to turn inward. The outer world grows softer, less demanding, as if respectfully stepping back to allow a deeper process to unfold. This shift is not something you need to manage. It happens the way evening happens, gradually and without effort, as light gives way to dusk. Your body understands this transition in ways far older than thought. Long before language, before plans and worries, living beings followed the rhythm of day, dissolving into night. That same ancient intelligence is alive in you now. It guides the slowing of your breath, the softening of your muscles, the quieting of mental activity. You are not making sleep happen. You are allowing a natural tide to carry you. Gratitude continues to ripple quietly through your system. Like warmth spreading through cool hands, even the smallest things can be included. The support beneath you, the steady rhythm of breathing, the simple fact that this moment of rest has arrived. Appreciation does not need to be dramatic to be real. It is enough to sense a gentle yes to the day that has passed. That yes signals completion. The nervous system relaxes when it feels a cycle has closed. Just as a task feels lighter once acknowledged as finished, the day settles more peacefully when it is received with thankfulness. Nothing more needs to be added. Nothing needs to be taken away. The day has been lived, and now it can be released. Letting go flows from this completion as naturally as an exhale follows an inhale. You may sense small fragments of the day loosening their hold. A conversation that lingered, a responsibility waiting for tomorrow, a moment you wish had gone differently. There is no need to push these away. Simply allow them to drift, like leaves carried downstream by a quiet current. With each breath out, something unnecessary leaves with it. Tension drains from the forehead, from around the eyes, from the corners of the mouth. The neck unwinds. Shoulders sink a little deeper. Hands grow heavier, warmer. Your body responds immediately when the mind stops gripping. Release is not an action, but a permission. In the space that opens, stillness becomes more apparent. This stillness is not the absence of sensation. It is the quiet background in which all sensation appears. Sounds may still be present, faint and distant. Thoughts may still move lightly across awareness. Yet beneath them there is a wide, unmoving presence. It's like the depth of the ocean beneath surface ripples. Resting as this depth brings a sense of being held from within. You are not trying to create calm. You are noticing the calm that was already here. The more attention softens into this inner quiet, the less compelling surface movements feel. Thoughts lose their urgency. Sensations lose their sharp edges. Everything is allowed to be exactly as it is. Trust deepens alongside this stillness. Your heart continues its steady work without instruction. Breath flows in and out on its own. Countless processes of repair and regulation prepare to unfold as sleep deepens. You do not need to supervise any of it. The same wisdom that grew your body from a single cell knows precisely how to restore it tonight. Allow yourself to lean into that wisdom the way a child leans into a caring embrace. There is relief in not having to solve, fix, or anticipate. For now, nothing is required of you. Trusting this brings a softness that spreads through the chest and belly, a feeling of being supported from the inside as well as from the bed beneath you. Peace with what is settles over everything like a gentle blanket. If the mind is quiet, that is included. If it is still a little busy, that too is included. If the body feels perfectly comfortable, that is welcome. If there is a small ache or restlessness, that also belongs. Nothing needs to change for peace to be present. This acceptance sends a powerful signal through your nervous system. The signal says it is safe. Safe to stop monitoring. Safe to stop bracing. Safe to let awareness loosen its grip on the day. In this safety, the edges of experience blur. The clear sense of inside and outside begins to soften into a single field of sensation and awareness. You may notice brief gaps between thoughts, small pockets of silence where nothing in particular is happening. These gaps are like doorways into deeper rest. There is no need to enter them deliberately. Simply noticing them is enough. They widen on their own when not filled with effort. Breathing grows subtler, almost as if the body is breathing itself in sleep already. The weight of your limbs increases, pleasantly heavy. As muscles surrender the last traces of holding, the face becomes smooth and expressionless, free from the micro-adjustments of daytime interaction. The tongue rests easily in the mouth. Even the eyes, behind closed lids, grow still. Awareness does not disappear. It becomes more spacious, less focused on particular objects. Like a light dimming but not going out, consciousness spreads into a soft, diffuse glow. In this glow, thoughts are faint echoes, sensations gentle whispers. Nothing demands attention. Everything floats in a wide, peaceful openness. This is the threshold where sleep begins to weave its deeper patterns, memory integrates. Beatus. Emotions settle into balance. The body shifts into modes of repair that only rest can provide. You do not need to witness these processes for them to happen. Trusting them is enough. If a final thought drifts through, let it pass without following. If an image forms, let it dissolve on its own. You are being carried now by a rhythm far older than personal history. Night gathers you the way the ocean gathers a floating leaf, effortlessly, without judgment. Beatus, without haste. There is a quiet sense of returning, of coming home to a place that has always known you. In this home, there is no role to play, no standard to meet, only warmth, darkness, and the gentle pulse of life continuing on your behalf. Rest deepens naturally here, unfolding layer by layer, as you surrender to the simple, timeless embrace of sleep. Sleep now holds you the way the earth holds roots in deep soil, quietly, completely, without needing recognition. Awareness thins into something wide and velvety, less like a point of focus and more like an open sky at night. Thoughts, if they appear at all, drift like distant fireflies, faint glimmers that do not disturb the darkness around them. The body has nearly forgotten the day. Muscles that carried effort have melted into stillness. The spine rests in its natural curves. The belly rises and falls in a slow, unhurried rhythm. Even the small muscles of the face are at ease, as if every expression has been set down for the night. This surrender is not defeat. It is wisdom returning to its source. In this depth, the sense of me softens. There is breathing, but no breather to manage it. There is warmth, but no need to hold on to it. There is the faint hum of life continuing, yet no story forming around it. Experience becomes simple and undivided, like a quiet lake reflecting the moon without trying. Healing unfolds in layers too subtle to track. Cells repair, tissues replenish. The neural pathways reorganize from the impressions of the day. The mind, freed from constant input, sorts and settles what it has gathered. Emotions find their natural balance when not stirred by fresh reactions. All of this happens in silence, guided by an intelligence that asks nothing from you. Trust has done its work. Because you did not cling to the day, the night can fully receive you. Because you did not fight your experience, rest can move through you unobstructed. This is the gentle reward of letting go. Life carries you when you stop trying to carry life. Somewhere in this depth, dreams may begin to bloom. They rise like mist from a valley at dawn, shaped from memory, feeling, and imagination. There is no need to control or interpret them. They are part of the mind's natural balancing, expressions of energy reorganizing itself. Whether vivid or faint, remembered or forgotten, they serve their quiet purpose. Even in dreaming, a thread of peaceful presence remains. Like a soft background note beneath changing melodies, you are not lost. You are simply resting in another layer of being, one where forms are fluid and boundaries are kind. The same stillness that held you before sleep now holds you within it. Time loosens here. Minutes and hours lose their sharp edges. Night becomes a single, continuous embrace rather than a series of measured moments. In this timelessness, the usual sense of striving has no place. Nothing is missing, nothing is ahead, nothing is behind. There is only rest unfolding in its own perfect rhythm. If the body shifts or turns, it does so gently, guided by comfort rather than restlessness. Movements are small waves on a vast sea of stillness. Breath continues its quiet tide. The heart keeps its patient beat, steady as a distant drum. Life hums along in the background, faithful and unassuming. Deep inside, peace is no longer an idea or a practice. It is simply the atmosphere of being. Like water to a fish, it surrounds and sustains without needing to be noticed. There is no effort to maintain it. It remains because nothing is disturbing it. Toward the far edge of night, something subtle begins to change. The darkness thins almost imperceptibly. Hormones shift again. The body prepares, in its own time, for the return of light. This transition happens with the same intelligence that guided you into sleep. You do not need to plan your awakening. Morning will find you when it is ready. For now, you remain cradled in the deepest layers of rest. Awareness, though faint, is peaceful and untroubled. Dreams ebb and flow. The body continues its quiet renewal. All is held in a vast, compassionate stillness that asks nothing and gives everything. This is the heart of sacred rest, not escape, not unconsciousness. Mox, but a return to the ground from which waking life arises. Here, effort dissolves, identity softens. Let's, and the simple fact of being is enough. You are carried by rhythms older than memory, supported by life itself. Let the last traces of doing fade completely. Let yourself be breathed, be held, be restored. Night completes its gentle work around you and within you, wrapping every layer of your being in silence and care. In this silence, in this care, sleep continues. It's deep and unbroken, a quiet blessing unfolding until the first light of morning calls you softly back. What changes is not the outer shape of your life, but the quiet center from which you live it. Challenges still arrive, yet they meet a steadier presence. Difficulties still move through your days, yet you no longer weave extra suffering by pushing against them. Desires and preferences continue to arise, yet they no longer hold the reins of your heart. You are like a mountain beneath passing weather, unmoved at your core while winds, rain, and sunlight play across the surface. As you rest here and feel your body easing towards sleep, notice that this is not only preparation for the night. You are gently training your nervous system, your heart, your awareness for tomorrow, for the coming weeks, for the unfolding of your whole life. Every sincere word you whisper inward plants unseen seeds. Each moment of genuine calm becomes part of the calm you will carry into the world. Peace practiced in silence does not stay private. It ripples outward, touching people you may never even realize you have influenced. Your family feels it as your listening grows deeper and your reactions soften. Those you work beside sense it as a steadier presence, a quieter field in which tensions loosen. Even strangers may feel a subtle permission to relax around you, as if your lack of judgment gives them space to set their burdens down. In this way, your inner practice becomes an offering, a small lantern in a world that longs for gentleness. And as that gentleness spreads, it shapes the very conditions in which everyone lives and practices. We exist together in a vast web of awareness, each life quietly affecting the others. Your commitment to peace is not small. It is a contribution to the shared field of human consciousness. Tonight, as these sacred lines echo softly within you and carry you toward deep rest, understand that you are part of an ancient current. Countless hearts before you have discovered that peace is not a distant achievement, but a natural state revealed when grasping loosens. By tending your own heart, you participate in the healing of the whole. When morning comes and you rise renewed, the circle begins again. You bring the stillness of sleep into movement and speech. You gather new moments of gratitude, new chances to release, fresh opportunities to trust and to soften. Thread by thread, wisdom weaves itself into the fabric of your being. This returning, this continuous beginning, is a sacred rhythm. Practice continues whether the body is awake or asleep. Seeds have been placed in the soil of consciousness. Growth unfolds in its own time. The peace you are does not vanish with night or appear only with day. It remains, expressing itself through rest and activity, silence and sound. As the quiet deepens, your sense of being separate begins to blur, like sugar dissolving in warm water. The boundary between inside and outside softens. This is not disappearance, but homecoming. Like a wave recognizing it has always been ocean, you remember that the peace you seek is the peace you are. Imagine yourself floating on a vast, warm sea under a starlit sky. The water supports you effortlessly. There is no shore to reach, no edge to find. Space stretches in every direction, filled with a gentle, loving presence. This is not fantasy, but a reflection of your true condition when grasping relaxes. Gratitude drifts from you like petals placed on the surface of the water. Every moment of appreciation you have ever known joins this offering. Nothing is forced. The ocean receives your thankfulness as naturally as it receives moonlight. In this giving, you do not become smaller. You expand, growing more spacious and connected. You begin to sense there is no real division between the one who offers gratitude and the vastness that receives it. Giver and receiver dissolve into a single field. Your body sinks a little deeper into support. The mind loosens its tight outlines. A gentle dissolving begins. Now releasing comes as easily as opening your hands in water. Old worries, regrets, and tensions fall away like small stones slipping from your pockets into the depths below. Nothing is judged. Everything is accepted and absorbed. As these weights drop, you float lighter, freer, held without effort. Letting go is revealed as natural rather than heroic. The buoyancy of life itself lifts what you no longer need. Fingers unclench. Arms rest wide on the surface. You learn the art of allowing, discovering that resistance was never required. You remain yourself, yet more transparent, more fluid, less confined by hard edges. Beneath the gentle movement of surface thoughts lies a profound stillness. This stillness is rich, alive, full of quiet potential. As awareness sinks toward it, You recognize it as your own deepest nature. Breath becomes part of a larger breathing. Heartbeat blends with a wider rhythm. Edges fade further. Past and future loosen their hold. Here and there lose their sharpness. In this vast presence, questions fall silent, not because they are answered in words, but because the need to ask them dissolves. Seeking comes to rest in simple being. Trust arises like surrendering to a current that already knows the way. You stop trying to direct the flow. Muscles release their last efforts. Limbs drift, supported. You allow yourself to be carried by an intelligence far greater than the thinking mind. This trust is awake, receptive, quietly courageous. At last, a deep peace spreads through every layer, like an ocean that accepts all rivers and all weather. You begin to allow each experience to arise and pass without argument. Joy and sorrow, ease and discomfort become textures in a much larger field that remains undisturbed. In this acceptance, the sense of isolation melts. Nothing you have loved is truly lost. No moment of beauty has vanished. All experience lives within the vastness of awareness that you are. You are the open field in which everything appears. Sleep approaches now like a gentle tide. It does not arrive from outside. It rises from the depths of this stillness. There is nothing to make happen. You simply allow consciousness to settle into quieter waters. Thoughts grow dim, like lights fading in distant houses at night. You sink, not with fear, but with the feeling of being gathered home. The surface world grows quiet. A deeper luminosity replaces ordinary awareness. Here, rest is not blankness, but a return to the source from which clarity and life arise. Carried by this boundless peace, you release the final traces of effort. There is nothing left to achieve, nowhere else to go. You are already held, already whole, already home. Let the vast silence cradle you now. Let the great tide of being rock you into the deepest, most sacred sleep. Drifting further into this gentle vastness, you begin to sense that rest is not an escape from life, but a return to its source. The quiet you are entering is rich and alive, like dark, fertile soil where unseen growth takes place. Nothing more is required of you. The great movement of healing and renewal unfolds on its own, guided by an intelligence older than thought. Breath flows in and out like a soft tide. Each inhale draws in ease. Each exhale releases the last faint traces of holding. Your body understands this rhythm without instruction. Muscles loosen their grip. The small tensions behind the eyes, in the jaw, across the chest quietly dissolve. You are being breathed, gently rocked by a universal pulse that never stops, even when you sleep. In this surrender, awareness does not vanish. It becomes wider, less confined. The sense of being a small figure inside a body gives way to the feeling of being a spacious field in which the body floats. Sensations come and go like ripples across a lake at dusk. Thoughts pass like distant birds crossing the sky, leaving no trace. Trust deepens. You no longer feel responsible for holding the world together. The same wisdom that keeps your heart beating through the night, that mends cells and balances countless subtle processes, is fully capable of guiding your life. You are allowed to rest completely in this care, as a child rests in loving arms without needing to understand how safety is provided. The peace spreading through you is not fragile. It does not depend on perfect conditions. It is like the deep ocean, undisturbed by the changing patterns on the surface. Even if waves of feeling move through, the depths remain still. You begin to recognize yourself as these depths rather than the passing waves. Acceptance grows so wide that nothing is pushed away. Pleasant and unpleasant, clear and confused, light and heavy sensations are all given space. In this openness, experience loses its sharp edges. Everything softens into movement within a single, continuous whole. Edi. There is no longer a need to defend an inner boundary. As this softening continues, the sense of a separate doer fades. Life is simply happening, breath by breath, pulse by pulse. You are not making sleep occur. Sleep is arising naturally, like nightfall spreading across the sky. Just as you never command the sun to set, you do not need to command the mind to become quiet. A subtle sweetness appears in this letting go. It is the sweetness of relief, of laying down a burden you did not realize you were carrying. The effort to control, to predict, to manage every outcome loosens its hold. In its place comes a gentle confidence that you are supported by something vast and benevolent. Your awareness sinks a little deeper, like a feather settling on still water and then slowly becoming part of it. The boundary between waking and sleeping grows thin, translucent. Images may flicker, fragments of dream beginning to form, yet even these are held in the same wide peace. In this depth, rest becomes profoundly nourishing. Body, heart, and mind bathe in a quiet that restores balance. Old strains unwind. Subtle knots of emotion loosen without analysis. Insights may form silently, like seeds sprouting underground, unseen but alive with potential. You are not losing yourself here. You are releasing only what was never essential. What remains is simple presence, open and at ease. The story of who you think you are grows faint, while the feeling of being itself becomes luminous and calm. It is as though you are floating in a boundless, dark velvet space, warm and welcoming. No edges press in on you. No demands reach you. Time loses its usual meaning. There is only this gentle, continuous now. The more stretching without limit. Even the idea of practice falls away. Nothing needs to be improved in this moment. Nothing is missing. The heart rests in its own natural state, unguarded and quiet. This is the ground from which compassion, clarity, and strength will later arise, refreshed and renewed. A deep contentment spreads, subtle yet unmistakable. It is not excitement, not pleasure in the usual sense, but a steady okayness with everything just as it is. In this contentment, the last movements of the day settle like dust in still air. You are carried now, effortlessly, into deeper layers of sleep. The transition is so smooth it feels less like going somewhere and more like dissolving into a larger embrace. Awareness becomes vast and simple, free from the need to define or grasp. Here, in this silent depth, you are held by life itself. Nothing can be taken from you. Nothing needs to be added. The peace that remains is your original nature, steady and unbroken beneath all the changing scenes of waking life. Let yourself drift further into this quiet. Let the gentle darkness cradle you. Trust the wisdom that guides this descent. You are safe in this vastness, supported without condition. Rest now, deeply and completely, in the boundless peace that you are. And now even the sense of drifting begins to fade, as if the one who was floating has become the space in which floating happens. There is no effort left anywhere in the body. The face is smooth, the tongue resting softly, the eyes quiet behind their lids. Shoulders melt downward, hands warm and open, the belly rising and falling in an easy, unforced rhythm. Awareness continues to widen, yet also grows simpler, like a vast sky empty of clouds. Nothing needs to appear here, and if something does, it passes without disturbance. The mind no longer reaches out to grasp an image or follow a story. It rests in its own natural clarity, open and untroubled. This is the gentle threshold where doing gives way to being. The day, with all its movements and meanings, has folded itself away like a garment set down with care. Roles, plans, memories, and expectations loosen their hold. What remains is a quiet presence that does not depend on any of them. In this depth, rest is not something you achieve. It is what you are when striving falls silent. The body, freed from the constant signals of urgency, turns its energy toward repair and renewal. Cells restore themselves. Systems rebalance. Yet, subtle harmonies reassert their natural order without any conscious direction. The heart, no longer pulled by the push and pull of the day, settles into a steady, unhurried beat. Each pulse is like a soft echo in a great cavern of stillness. Breath continues as a gentle tide, moving in and out of a shoreless sea. Nothing is forced. Nothing is held back. Here, even the idea of inside and outside loses its meaning. Sensations, if they arise, do so within the same field as thoughts and dreams. There is only one seamless expanse of experience, and you are not separate from it. You are that expanse, quiet and aware. A deep trust pervades this state. Life is carrying itself. The same mysterious intelligence that spins galaxies and opens flowers is guiding this moment of rest. You do not need to supervise the night. You do not need to keep watch. You are allowed to sink completely into this support. Any final traces of tension dissolve like mist in morning light. Even subtle emotional currents that may have lingered begin to smooth out. Forgiveness happens here without effort. Understanding unfolds without analysis. The heart releases what it was never meant to hold forever. In this profound ease, sleep is no longer a blank gap in consciousness. It is a return to the ground from which consciousness rises. Awareness without objects, presence without boundaries, peace without opposite. Nothing is missing here. Nothing is out of place. If faint dreams begin to shimmer at the edges, they are like distant reflections on a dark lake, gentle and insubstantial. They arise within the same vast stillness and dissolve back into it. You remain the quiet depth beneath all images. Time has loosened its grip. There is no hurry toward morning, no sense of waiting. Only this endless now, rich and velvety, holding everything in a soft embrace. Rest deepens naturally, like a stone settling to the bottom of clear water. You are safe in this depth, held by a love that does not depend on conditions, supported by a peace that does not fade. There is nothing you must remember and nothing you must forget. The night knows how to carry you. Let go now of even the subtlest intention to follow these words. Let them drift away like leaves carried downstream. What remains does not need language. It is the silent truth of being, steady and luminous. Sink fully into this quiet. Let the body sleep. Let the mind sleep. Let awareness rest in its own boundless nature. All is well here. All has always been well at this deepest level. Rest in the stillness that asks nothing of you. Rest in the darkness that is warm and alive. Rest in the gentle, infinite peace that has been here all along. And so the night receives you completely.